I'm talking to Isabel Rutt from SENDIASS. So Isabel, firstly, could you explain to me what SENDIASS stands for and what the service is and what it provides for young people?
Thank you for inviting me. Yes, so SENDIASS is Special Educational Needs and Disability, and the IAS bit on the end is Information, Advice and Support Service. So we offer a free, independent advice and support for any young person or family or carer with a young person with special educational needs or disability for the Gloucestershire area. And in fact, we have SENDIASS. It's a legal requirement that you do have a SENDIASS service in every local authority in England.
So I gather that anyone up to the age of 25 who has an additional need or disability can contact SENDIASS for advice. Would you be able to outline the major areas of help that someone between about 16 and 25 might want to look into?
Yes, I'm the post-16 advisor for SENDIASS for Gloucestershire. Young people from 16 upwards who get in touch. We have an area of their special educational needs which we focus on, and we call that preparation for adulthood. So the term preparation for adulthood is really important because it's part of the SEND code of practice, the legal bit, the guidance bit that we need to follow. So young people come and seek support for that preparation for adulthood. That's their next steps. And preparation for adulthood can be divided into 4 sections. So we have an employment section or next steps. Sometimes that may be training or education or employment. Another area is independent living. That's really important when you're thinking about your next steps of not being reliant on your family, perhaps becoming more independent. And if you are reliant on your family for your needs or your care, how you can take more control over that and make more sound, judgments and make your own decisions. Another area is the community, being part of that community. We call that community inclusion. So it may be from joining a club or an activity, or even knowing who your doctor, your dentist, having that ability to join in and become a valued member of your community. That's really important when you're taking your next steps into becoming an adult. And the 4th area is health. And within that health, we have your own physical health, or we also now have the mental health aspects. So again, becoming independent on taking responsibility for your own health and your own mental health. And that may be through, again, becoming involved in knowing when you need your COVID jabs, or knowing when you need support perhaps with your mental health, or ways in which you can support yourself through healthy eating or a healthy lifestyle through sport. So those are the 4 areas of preparation for adulthood. And when a young person or a family member of the young person with SEND contacts us, it tends to be one of those 4 areas that they need to seek support with. And usually there's such a crossover, it can be 2 or 3 of those areas.
I wondered if, thinking of the young people you support, you'd be able to describe a particular case study of how working with SENDIASS has empowered that young person to reach and actually exceed their goals and ambitions.
Yes, certainly. Yes. I mean, I was thinking about all the young people that we've supported, and sometimes it's a very tiny 5-minute conversation that you can have, and that really impacts on how they view themselves within that whole journey of reaching their potential. But there was one. I'll give you one example of a young person. So he's 15 and he was in year 10. I wasn't involved in his case. He was an autistic young man with an EHCP in place, and they had an annual review. And when you have an annual review when you're in year 10, it's called a transfer review. So it's getting ready for your next step. A little bit when you're in year 5, you have a transfer review to see where you're going to go at secondary age. Mm-hmm. So this was in year 10, where what would the next steps be for this young man? And the Senko had very kindly invited somebody from the local college, and the school and the young person had voiced that they were interested in animals and animal care. But the young person was an elected mute. So when confronted with lots of adults in a room, really didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so parents contacted me after the meeting and said, the transfer review we felt went really well, and he signed up to do a fairly academic course at college. But actually, we don't know whether this is the right thing, or we're not feeling that this probably is the right path, but we don't know where to go. So over a period of months, I did some home visits and I worked with the young person. And by the time then we had the next review, I was able to advocate for him. He had a long list of how he had spoken to me and had really made it clear what he wanted. And yes, he did want to work with animals, but he actually wanted to do more of a hands-on experience and get work experience. So that was an ideal opportunity then to introduce them to our forwards team, which is part of the county support for supported internships. And that was where he could go to college for 1 day a week, securing and reinforcing his maths and English, learning how to write a CV and meeting other people of his age. 3 days a week, he then ended up working, doing a supported internship, working in a very large pet shop and getting that experience. And at the end of that experience, he was able to advocate for himself. He was able to then voice really what he wanted. And he felt that he was part of his own decision making rather than being done to by very well-meaning adults within the room. So that's the sort of work that we can do, and the sort of work how we at SENDIASS can support young people.
If somebody was listening who was a parent or a carer, what advice you might have for them, for parent or carers who are supporting a young person to make decisions about their future?
Do you know, Martha, I find that parents and carers, they know their child or they know the young person really, really well. They have that very inner gut feeling of what feels right for them and what things, when they feel that things aren't going right. Sometimes they don't feel like they're being heard. Sometimes they can feel that they're being, then that they don't have a right to get involved when the young person becomes 18. And that's really important, where you have that balance between a young person becoming an adult. But parents, by and large, in my experience, really do understand what makes the young person that lives with them, that they've cared for and supported over the years, what makes them tick. And I would say to any parent, if you are supporting and working with your child and you are worried, then keep those lines of communication open with a college. Explain to the college that, yes, I do appreciate that, my child is over 18, but please can I be involved in that? Because sometimes, they may be worried that they're not making the best or the most informed decisions for themselves. Or to contact us and have a chat with us, and we can guide them on how they can get that support as well, and how we can support them with advocacy themselves.
So thank you so much for joining me. I just wanted to finish by asking if somebody can self-refer themselves or their child to SENDIASS, and if so, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, the best way to get in touch with us is, they can contact me directly, and my information is on our website. There is a referral button that they can press and they can fill in a few details. So yes, on our website, www.sendiassgloss, that's GLOS.org.uk.